6th of December, Rabbi Furst, Parsha Hashavua with Rashi Veyeitze.
All right, very good. We're in Parshas Veyeitze, as Lou mentioned. We're in chapter 24. Excuse me, what was I forgot it was Chaf Ches, Yud Ches, right? Chaf Ches. Let's see. Let me go look again. By Shlishi, you go by Shlishi.
27:18.
Yeah, that's right. 27. Thank you. 27:18.
Yeah. My
You mean 28:18?
no 20
No,
27 is
27.
Veyeitze.
There should be by Shlishi, right there, beginning by Shlishi.
Lishi of Veyeitze?
Parsha Veyeitze, correct. Yeah, 20, Chaf test, 29, actually, 29:18. 29:8. Yeah,
when I look
29:8.
up when I want to look up 27:44, I only get up to 34.
Really? Interesting. I'll have to check. Have to check.
So
You found
maybe
Pasuk, Lou?
a misprint somewhere. And it's nothing to do. The part there that I've got is to do with Jacob looking the blood-soaked multicolored garment that he gave that the brothers brought as evidence of Yosef's death, which he wasn't. So I don't know where it was supposed to go, what the Rashi is, unless or maybe it's no, it's 27:44 was my of the days, the few days that his mother spoke to him. Maybe it's must have been earlier anyway, because we're in 2029.
Okay, we'll come to that. In the meantime, so I just want to check. You you found the pasuk there, Lou?
I found it, yeah. Should I read?
Well, Roy, you could just we could catch up. We were holding and working on the Rashi there, but you could read it out loud again if you like.
Read it again if you like, yes. I don't mind. You can.
Okay, so Jacob loved Rachel, and he said, I will work for you 7 years. I will work for you 7 years for Rachel, your younger daughter. Right?
This was after he'd been
Right.
deceived with Leah.
Oh, so well, this is the beginning. This is the beginning of the what they're talking about, the beginning of the agreement. What was the agreement all about? Right? So
He hasn't married Leah yet.
so yeah.
Yeah, I think he has.
Ah, right.
He found out because he'd married Leah, and this was the night of the marriage where they went together.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're not up to that yet. But here you see, says seven, talked about 7 days, 7 years. Hey, so, yeah, you sure, okay, now I'm looking up that pasuk. Rashi brings down that pasuk. Hem yamim achadim sha'amruloi imoy. That those were the days that he said there. Shavte imoy yamim achadim ad asher tashuv hamas achicha. This is going back to Parshas Toldos, right?
Mm.
Going back to Parshas Toldos. This is what his mother said to him, right? These Yamim Achadim, those were the 7 years he had to remain there by Lavan in order to have the wrath of Esav well.
Which pasuk in told us?
Yeah, it's supposed to be told. That you sure you looked there in Chavzayin in 27 Mem Daled 44?
Yes. It finishes at 34.
In chapter 37, 27, chapter 27. All right.
I might have gone wrong, but so this is it's in 25. Well, in Toldos, sorry, where? In Toldos?
Toldos, right? It's in Parshas Toldos. Look there in chapter Chaf Zion 27.
27. Yeah.
And it should be 44. Pasuk 44.
Oh, that's why it was. All right. 27, 44. Oh, yes, I've got that here. So what did I look at? 20. I looked at 29. All right. 27, 44.
All right, well, we got it now. That's okay. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was said? Just read that pasuk so we can tune into what Rashi's trying to teach us over here.
Mm.
Yeah, Roy, go ahead. Read that pasuk there.
All right then. V'yoshavta imo yomim achadim ad asher teshuv chomas achicha. Meaning that all and abide with him. This is
I love it. He's supposed to go. He's being told by his mother to go to Lovin.
we abide with him a few days until thy brother's fury turn. And it reiterates it again in the next pasuk. Ad shuv af achicha mimecha v'shochach at asher asicha lo v'sholchalti ולקחתיך משום למה אשקל גם שניקים יום אחד, until thy brother's wrath turn away from thee, and he forget that which thou hast done to him. Then I will send and take thee from thence. Wherefore should I be bereft also of you both in one day? So
Okay.
that's his mother, Rebecca. All right. And you want me to go on?
No, 1 second, 1 second. We're going to come back to this pasuk in Parshas Vayehi, Bli Neder. We're going to come back to this pasuk because she mentioned it one day. That's going to be an important thing when it comes to Parshas Vayehi. So now, yeah, let's go back to our original pasuk. Chav Tes Yud Tes.
Of Tishud Zion 17. Oh, now I've got it. Cough. 30, what? No, it wasn't 30. It was 20,
29, 18.
29, 29, 18. All right, that's 27, 28, 29, 18. Right. So 29, 18 was the year Chav, Yaakov es Rachel v'Yomer Hevadocho Sheva Shanim Barachel Bitcho Hakatana. Right, which was, and Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. And then Laban said, he agreed. V'yomer Laban tov tati also lach mititi ata laish acher shava imadi. It's better that I give her to you than to another one, to another man. So stay with me. Yaakov V'ya'avod Yaakov Barachel Sheva Shanim V'ya'u Banov Kiyomim Achadim V'ahavasor Asor. And Jacob, Yaakov served 7 years for Rachel, and they were in his eyes as a few days in his love for her.
Now, so let's go back to the Rashi, the original Rashi we started with.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Right. In English, the Rashi for 18, and Yaakov loved Rachel and said, I'm sorry, no, that's not, that's a sentence. 18, I will serve thee 7 years. On that phrase, these are the quote and unquote few days. These 7 years are the few days of which his mother had spoken to him.
Okay, now see the next Rashi. Continue on.
Well, actually, it goes on a bit and says, and thou shalt tarry with him a few days, she said. And you can see that this is so, for it is written in verse 20, and they, that's the 7 years, were in his eyes, that is according to his view, the few days of which his mother had spoken. It's got here Gen R. What's Gen R? Genesis Rashi 70. And the next Rashi is Rachel, the Sach, whatever, for literally for Rachel, my daughter, the younger one. What reason was there for mentioning all these detailed descriptions of Rachel?
Oh, right. He says, just tell her my name, Rachel. Doesn't Lavan know who his daughter Rachel is?
No. Because he, Yaakov, knew that he, Lavan, was a deceiver. He said to him, I will serve thee for Rachel, and should you say that I mean any other Rachel out of the street, therefore I say your daughter. Should you say I would change Leah's name and call her Rachel, I say your younger one. So in spite of this, however, all these precautions did not avail, for he did actually deceive him, deceive Yaakov.
Oh, so this is the point I want to. What do you mean that he actually deceived Yaakov? What I was supposed to understand that that Yaakov was deceived. Yaakov was very smart, right? Don't think that Yaakov wasn't a very smart person.
He deceived him because he gave him Leah instead of Rachel.
Yeah. So how did he understood? Yaakov was on the lookout for that. He understood that was that it was. He understood that was what he's going to plan. Doesn't the Rashi that we just read indicate that?
Yeah, what my understanding is that he and Rachel made a plan to make sure that there wasn't a trick, but then Rachel couldn't follow through with the plan because of her morality.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
She realized that Leah was going to be embarrassed if they if under the chuppah Yaakov said to Leah, what is the sign that we agreed, and Leah didn't know it, then Yaakov would turn around and say, this is not happening. This is a fraud. I want Rachel. This is not Rachel. And Leah would be embarrassed.
Okay.
Didn't
Very
want
good.
her sister to be embarrassed, so she gave her the sign. So Leah was able to give the signs, and Yaakov thought that she was Rachel.
Okay. So so it's not that Laban deceived Yaakov. How do we understand, according to the scenario which you just said, which is accurate? How do we understand what Rashi means that Laban was the one who deceived him? Laban didn't deceive him. Yaakov had everything covered. He had all kinds of fail safes arranged. He understood what was going to happen here. He wasn't taken unawares. If it wasn't for Rachel, there would have been no deception.
Well, but Lavan still put Leah under the chuppah.
Right.
That was not what he agreed to do. He agreed to put Rachel under the chuppah.
Right. That's true. I agree. You're right. But does that fit into the words of Rashi? It says, "Afa pikin lo hoyo lo shari ra'amu." With all this, what he's trying to do, right? It didn't help. Shari ra'amu. He was deceived. So I don't know. Maybe it doesn't say. Really, it doesn't say here specifically that he was deceived by Lavan, did it? Does it? Maybe Rashi's being careful for this, right?
Yeah, he's just saying Lavan was a trickster.
Yeah, well, that everybody knew that.
Well, but it, I mean, it evolved that it was Laban's action that caused the problem. Because if you think about it, Rachel didn't deceive Yaakov. When she gave the signs to Leah, she wasn't doing anything to deceive Yaakov directly, only indirectly. And when Leah gave the signs, she wasn't doing anything to deceive him. He said, "What is the signs?" And she said, "The signs is blah blah." So the tricking goes back to Lavan.
Right. So very good. So I wanted based on this, I want to try and understand what is our understanding of this concept of deception. You mentioned that Rachel didn't do anything deceptive, and Leah didn't do anything deceptive. It was Laban, he was the one who did something deceptive. Now, you're right. What did Rachel do? Rachel, like when her father, whatever it is, you stay here. You're not going to the chuppah. You're not going to Yaakov today. It's not. You forget about it. So what could she do? Right? Start screaming. What you're supposed to do? Start screaming. Right? And uh, and Leah. Question is, was there any was there any point in Leah saying that, listen, you think I'm Rachel, I'm really Leah. What if Leah spilled the beans? Would
There
that
is a reason to suspect that Leah didn't even really know what was going on, because later when we see the a matter of the dudaim, when Rachel says to Leah, "Let me have the dudaim," Leah says, "Isn't it enough that you stole my husband? Now you want to take my dudaim?" And
right?
so you can ask the question, what does she mean you stole my husband? Doesn't she remember that Rachel was the one who gave her husband? So I think maybe
Right.
she didn't know. Rachel just said to her, when Yaakov asks you, say blah blah blah. But she didn't explain to her that this was a secret code that they gave to make sure that she was Rachel.
Right, but didn't Leah know that this was supposed to be Rachel's wedding night?
I'm saying maybe not. Maybe her father came to her and said, "I made a deal with Yaakov, and he's going to marry you."
Don't forget 7 years. He's been working. Yaakov's been working 7 years.
Right.
Been quite a while that you know he's been around the family table for a while now already. No,
Right. But how much interaction did he have with Leah?
I mean Rashi says one second. Rashi says, um, where's the pasuk? Hold on a second. Let me. Uh, uh, oh, I think there's a Rashi here. One second. Let's check. Yes, yes. Look at look in this you go back a couple of psukim, Yud Zion, Pasuk Yud Zion.
Yud Zion. Yud Zion. 17.
Have it there? Roy, you want to read the Pasuk Yud Zion?
Luke can do it if he doesn't mind.
All right, no problem. Um,
Yeah.
Leah's eyes were tender, while Rachel was beautiful of form and beautiful of appearance. Rashi says tender, for she was under the impression that she was destined to ascend to the lot of Esav, i.e., to become Esav's wife. And she would cry because everybody would say, Rebecca has 2 sons and Lavan has 2 daughters. The elder for the elder, the younger for the younger. So she thought that she was going to marry Esav.
Right. And that Rachel was going to marry Yaakov.
Right.
And so yeah, now you have Yaakov here. Right there with them, working 7 years. And he's now there's a wedding night. What's this wedding night all about? Ostensibly, Yaakov's getting married. Who's he going to get married to? Going to get married to Rachel. That's what she's crying all about, right? She's going to wind up with Esav.
Maybe Laban
Now,
simply said to her, change of plans. You're going to marry Yaakov instead. And she was very happy to hear that.
so let's say that's the way it worked out. I don't know. Maybe it could be. What happens here is Laban says to Rachel, we don't do that. You can't get married before your older sister. We don't do that around here. And she understood. Said, okay, so what's going to happen? Says, all right, you stand on the side, and Rachel, you stand on the side, and then Leah's going to marry Yaakov. Laban goes to Leah. Okay, Leah, listen, I know you didn't order a wedding dress today for this occasion, but we got a special wedding dress for you. You're going to go to the chuppah today. So now Rachel realizes what's going on. So in order not to embarrass Leah, she gives her the simonim, the passcodes that Yaakov gave her. And so Yaakov was deceived, but not necessarily that she was deceived by Laban. So I'm just trying to focus for a moment. We'll have to stop in a minute. Did Rachel, did she do anything wrong? Leah, did she do anything wrong? Apparently not.
Right.
The only one did was Laban. Laban made it seem that Rachel was going to get married first. And it turned out that Leah was going to get married first instead.
Right. You can even argue Lavan didn't do anything wrong. After all, he was doing the right thing for his daughter, for both daughters, that the older one should get married first. And when he gave him Rachel also, he fulfilled his deal.
Right.
So he didn't do anything wrong either. Nobody did anything wrong.
Okay, that's a good point. Could be that that's true, that the only thing that happened was a mix-up. That Yaakov was led to believe that he would marry Rachel first. And in fact, he had to marry Leah first. But what is problematic is that since Yaakov said he's working these 7 years, these 7 years were being worked for the sake of Rachel.
Right, but he does get her 1 week later.
Right.
So he did
Right.
get the 7 years. The second 7 years was for Leah.
Right. Um,
And after all, this was what allowed him to become the progenitor of Yisrael.
right. See, if you look in Pasuk 27, look in Pasuk 27.
Complete the week of this one, and I will give you this one too for the work that you will work for me further another 7 years.
So the second 7 years he's working for who?
For Leah. It's interesting the way it words it. Complete the week of this one. Doesn't say who.
Right.
And we will give you this one too for the work that you will work for me further another 7 years.
Right. That's my the first 7 years Yaakov was intending to work those first 7 years for Rachel.
Right.
Now Loving comes says, no, you were really working for Leah, and you're gonna have to work another 7
For
for
Rachel.
Rachel. So that's a swindle. No, that's a swindle, right, Roy?
Maybe, yeah.
I think so.
Well, I mean, you know, on the surface, yes, but you can read it and that it's not.
What do you mean?
You can read it that Lavan is saying, I'm giving you Rachel for the 7 years. Well, in 1 week, I'm giving you Rachel. But you got to take Leah too. That's part of the deal. And you should have known better, Yaakov. You know we don't marry those younger before the older.
I would imagine that would form part of the general conversation. When they're talking day to day things, when they're not making bargains, and when they're talking about what's happening and that. I would imagine that topic would come up.
Between who and who?
With Laban and Yaakov.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that makes,
Right. All right, just, I'm just trying to clarify where the real swindle was over here. Okay. But have to try and clarify a little bit better, Mitzvah Shem.
all right, thank you.
Fine.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Roy. Thank you, Lou. Bez Hashem should have both a good Erev Shabbos and hope to see you
Roy, I
beginning
sent
of
you
next
an
week.
email about Rabbi Levitt's shir in the book that we're buying. Did you see it?
No, when did you send it out?
I sent to Roy.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't. Did you send me an email?
Yeah, please look at your email. We got to decide if you have to decide if you want me to buy you the book.
Oh, I haven't seen the email. I mean, I've seen the email, but I haven't seen it. I'll have another look.
All right, take a look, please, and let me know if you want it, because I have to make an order for either 3 or 4 books, depending on your decision.
Yeah, you are coming to Rabbi Levitt?
Yes, Mitzvah Hashem in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll check my email and see. You sent it, yeah, okay. All right then, I'll see you then.
You should have it.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi. First, have a good Shabbos. You and your family be well. Thank you. Bye.
You too. Thank you, Lou. Hope to see you both very soon.
Thank you, Rabbi. Bye-bye.
Thank you.